It's Tuesday morning in Fremont. The Book Larder hasn't yet opened for the day, but inside this beloved Seattle cookbook shop, a well-choreographed dance is taking place. Kenji Lopez-Alt, known to friends and followers simply as Kenji, is making his weekly visit, here signing copies of his new cookbook, The Wok.
The wok is it's the tool that I use the most at home. I think it's the most versatile pan in the kitchen.
Kenji is among the most influential voices in food today. He's a best-selling author, New York Times food columnist, chief culinary advisor for the website Serious Eats, and host of Kenji's Cooking Show, which has more than 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And he lives in Seattle.
So my wife did an internship here after grad school. Once COVID happened and my wife was working from home and I was working from home and we were going to have another baby, and we're like, maybe now's a good time to do it. So we did. Essentially we moved to Seattle because we like Seattle.
One of the reasons for Kenji's popularity, he takes a scientific approach to food, which makes sense because he grew up in a family of scientists.
This sort of natural inclination to ask why and to not be satisfied unless I know why, I think definitely stems from coming from this sort of background where science was just sort of the language at home. And that definitely fed into this style of writing and recipe testing I do now.
A graduate of MIT who spent time in some of Boston's top kitchens, Kenji wrote for Cooks Illustrated before moving to Serious Eats, where he started a food science column called The Food Lab. His first article, 3,000 words on how to boil an egg. It's a style he continues today, not just writing a recipe, but explaining in detail the techniques used and why they work.
The analogy I always use is that a recipe is like asking your phone for turn-by-turn directions, right? So it's like, how do I get to the gas station? And your phone can tell you, and that's what a recipe does, and that's fine. But if you're the kind of person who says, I want to explore the neighborhood, I want to be able to decide where I would go next time, or the route that I want to take next time, that's what learning the technique and the science behind cooking is like. It allows you the freedom to be more expressive in the kitchen.
Like so many of us, these days Kenji's approach to cooking is less focused on perfection and more on practicality, in large part because he and his wife have 2 kids at home.
I'm interested if having a child changed how you approach food or cooking in any way.
Yeah, certainly it changed how I approach cooking, mainly because, it's like when I wrote my first book and when I was working at Serious Eats, my wife and I were both very sort of career focused, and so I could spend all day in the kitchen testing things. But now it's like meals they have to be on the table at a certain time, otherwise your kid's schedule gets thrown off.
Being a dad has also changed the way Kenji creates videos for his ultra-popular YouTube channel. On Kenji's Cooking Show, there are no scripts or multiple cameras. It's just him and a GoPro.
What I do now is I basically just stick a camera on my head. Whatever I was going to cook for my family, I'll just cook it, right? And I'll sort of talk through it. And if I make a mistake, I leave it in. If I don't have the right ingredients, I improvise. And so I think it really shows how understanding technique allows you to be more free in the kitchen.
It's Kenji's genuine love of wok cooking that led him to write his latest book. The Wok actually began as a chapter in the Food Lab before growing into something more. An exploration of how one relatively inexpensive cooking vessel, a tool most associate with restaurants, actually has a place in almost any home kitchen.
And there's a variety of stuff you can do with it, from stir frying, pan frying, deep frying, steaming, sauteing, smoking, simmering, braising. It's like all these things you can do with this one simple tool, as long as you sort of have those techniques under your belt. I want people to be able to go through the book and understand the basic principles involved, and feel confident enough that they can step into the kitchen and start cooking with it.
For Seattle Refined, I'm Brandon Bernstead.